So this video is going to be completely on this year's theme of our Golu display, which is the nostalgic memory of traditional Indian games. So I'll be taking you through each of the games, how it is played, why it is played, how many players play it, what are the speciality of the games, everything in detail. Zooming in through each of the games. So let's continue. Now let us look at our this year's theme in complete detail. First of all, let's see the reasons why we chose this theme. Of course, the main reason being that it is very close to our heart. It's recollecting the nostalgic memories of our traditional Indian games, our beautiful Indian traditional games. With the development of technology, this new millennial generation has taken largely to video games, etc., thanks to the advent of internet and new technologies. Of course, it's not their fault. There's hardly any space to play outdoor games. So we wanted to do this theme so that the elders in the family can recollect their wonderful childhood memories and to introduce the beauty of these games to the young generation. First of all, let us look at some of the benefits of Indian traditional games. The inclusion of any sport or game in the daily routine of a child has immense importance in the growth and development of his or her personality. A child becomes robust as well as mentally and physically strong by participating in sports and physical activities. Similarly, traditional Indian games play a vital role in the overall development of a child. Let's look at some of the top benefits of playing traditional Indian games. By playing traditional Indian games, a child learns how to enjoy minimal resources. As you can see, most of these games which we have created, miniatures, use minimal resources. You just need to draw a grid in some of the cases, and for the pawns we can use what is available readily at home like pulses and cowrie shells, etc. It enhances mental strength and increases stamina. It builds a problem-solving attitude. These games teach children how to interact socially. They improve eye-hand coordination. They help children to become more disciplined. It builds a winning spirit. And by playing traditional Indian games, kids learn about our culture. Now, I'll be zooming in through each of the games and explaining to you exactly how the games are played, and also sharing briefly about my own personal experiences and how these games are special to me. So I'll be giving you a personal perspective too. Let's continue. Now let's look at Lagori. It involves a ball, preferably a rubber ball, and a pile of 7 flat stones stacked one upon another. It is generally played between 2 teams with a minimum of 3 players and a maximum of 9 in each team. The beauty of this game lies in the fact that it can be played with minimal equipment. The simplicity of the rules also makes it special. Skills involved here is running, aiming and team coordination. You can see here the 7 stones stacked one upon the other, and this is the ball. So they hit the stack of stones with the ball. Now let's look at Kabaddi. Kabaddi is a highly energetic and interesting sport invented in our own India, and it is specially made for adrenal junkies. It is one of the rare sports that can be played without any equipment. Of course, it needs a large outdoor space to play it. It is played between 2 teams of 7 players. The objective of the game is for a single player on offense, referred to as the raider, to run into the opposite team's half of a court, touch as many of their defenses and return to the other half. All the while saying kabaddi, 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 kabaddi in one breath. That is the most interesting part of kabaddi. Kabaddi needs very good physical fitness, strategy and also team coordination. Now we come to cricket. I don't think any of us need much of an explanation for cricket. It's an unofficial national game of India. Only thing I recollect is from my childhood memories where we watched the first 1983 World Cup on TV. TV had come in just then to most of our houses. We were so excited to watch the World Cup that we weren't even bothered that exams were nearing. That is the memory, personal memory I have about cricket. I'm sure it touches all our hearts too. Let's move on to the next game. Kho-Kho. Kho-Kho is another popular traditional Indian game. One of my favorites. We used to play so much of Kho-Kho in school. It's played by girls and boys too. And we used to not even bothered about sitting on the mud floor, getting mud on our hands, our feet, our hair. That is to be the fun part. Now coming to how Kho-Kho is played. Kho-Kho is another popular traditional Indian sport invented and developed in ancient India. It consists of two teams. At a given time, the chasing team's player are sitting one across each other, and there's another running team. Two players of the running team are on the field. There are two stacks of poles and the runners have to run around the poles and touch the opponent, and they have to get up and go. The team that takes the shortest time to tap all the opponents in the field wins. Skills involved here is running and also strategic play. Now coming to the Bugri or the top. It is another popular traditional Indian game. It is also known as Lattu, which means the spinning top. This game is pretty simple. It is played using a top. It is about making the top spin and for the longest amount of time. Skills involved here is eye-hand coordination and concentration. We used to use these tops and make them spin on our hands even sometimes. So that used to be so much fun. That's how much we enjoyed the game of Buguri. Goli or marbles is another interesting, inexpensive traditional Indian game invented in our own India. It's a favorite among youngsters. It is played using dark green or colorful marbles, colloquially known as goli. The game involves the player hitting the selected target marble using one of his own. We used to enjoy the game of marbles or goli a lot in our own childhood. The winner of the game takes away all goalies from the losing players. That is to be the most interesting part. Though these are just marbles, the different colors of the marbles, oh wow, they used to attract our attention. Skills involved are aiming and eye-hand coordination. I have a lot of memories associated with goli. Once when we were playing goli in my aunt's house, by mistake the opponent hit the goli and it came and broke my spectacles. Oh, and what a shouting I got from my mother. Beautiful childhood memories. Now we come to this game which is called as Chinni Dandu or sometimes even Gilli Dandu. This game requires two sticks. The smaller oval stick is known as Gilli, whereas the longer one is known as Danda. The player needs to utilize the Danda to hit the Gilli at the raised end, and then it flips into the air. The secret to winning this game is all in the technique of raising and hitting the gilli. Skills involved are aiming and eye-hand coordination. This is played mostly by boys, and of course it's an outdoor game. Now we come to what is known as Kallu Ata. Kallu in our Kannada is stones. So this is mainly played with stones, 5 stones. This traditional game is equally popular both among children and adults. It involves 5 pieces of small stones. It is played in mostly leisure time and a very fun game. The beauty of this game is because it's very simple and very inexpensive, and also any number of people can play this game. I have tons and tons of memory playing this with my grandmother. Oh, and what fun it is to be. Now we come to what is known as Alguli Mane in Kannada or Pallanguli in Tamil. It is a traditional ancient game played in South India. This game is popular among the kids and also the old people. This game is encouraged for the kids to count to improve eye-hand coordination and concentration while playing. Observing the opponent and quick calculation is the key to winning this game. Pallanguli is a rectangular board with 2 rows and 7 columns, and there are 5 small pawns in each of the counters. For the counters, tamarind seeds or anything can be used. We have used small pulses. What is readily available at home we can use. And of course, this is a small miniature designed by us. The game ends when one of the players captures all the shells and is declared as the winner. 2 people play this game. Now we come to one of my personal favorites. It is called as the Tire Bandi Ata or the tire game using a tire. The rejected tires of motorcycles and bicycles used to be used to call this game, which is locally known as tire game. It is popular all over India. Basically, children use a wild imagination in this to be the tires of their imaginary vehicle and roll the tire using the stick. It is a fun game and also burns a lot of calories. It's one of the most fun games we used to play as children. Now we come to a very popular game known as Snakes and Ladders. Snakes and Ladders was originally known as Mokshapatham. It is an ancient board game and today it's a worldwide classic, of course. It is played between 2 or more players on a game board having numbered checkered grids. The game is a simple race game based on sheer luck and it is popular with young children. The historic version had its roots in morality lessons. The snakes represent the vices in life like anger, grief, jealousy, and the ladders represent the virtues that we should accumulate, to become better people like contentment, joy, courage, and confidence. Though it's a very simple game, there is so much hidden in it, isn't it? Ludo. Ludo is a traditional board game, typically of a square-shaped board that originated from India. Its first name before it was called Ludo was Pachisi in India. Ludo can be played with either 2 players, minimum of 2 players and a maximum of 4 players. It's mostly a game of luck. And the one who reaches the home or the center is the winner. Now we come to what is known as Huli Kuri Ata. Huli is tiger and Kuri is sheep. In Kannada it's called as Huli Kuri Ata. In Tamil it is called as Adipuli Atam. So 2 players play this game. It is a very simple game and the markings can be made on the ground. Pawns used are usually cowrie shells for tigers and the tamarind seeds for the sheep. It's a prey and predator game. The sheep or kurri avoid getting jumped over by the tiger or the huli. The tigers try to kill as many sheep as possible. Pawns are 4 tigers and 24 sheep. The game tests skills of mind such as concentration and strategy. All my summer holidays used to be spent in playing the huli kuri aata with my grandmother or Pati. And most of the time, I think my Pati used to let me win. Small joys of being a child. Kunte bille or hopscotch, as commonly called, is played on the mud or a concrete floor with a grid pattern drawn on it by the players. A ladder shaped pattern is drawn on the floor and every box is numbered from 1 to 8. A small piece of stone or any other flat object is thrown on any one of the grids. The player has to hop all their way to the end of the numbered block without touching any of the grids. Skills involved is physical fitness and concentration. As children, we used to play this game ever so often, and mostly it's played by girls. We used to call it also the aeroplane atta or aeroplane game, because this grid somehow looks like an aeroplane. That was the imagination we used to use. So now we come to a very, very famous traditional game. I think most houses play this. It is known as Chauka Bara. Chauka Bara is a popular race game. It's played using cowrie shells, tamarind seeds, groundnut pulses commonly found at home were also used as playing pieces. 2 or 4 players can play this game. The movement of the pawns is controlled by the cowrie shells. Suppose you get all the cowrie shells like this, that in this pattern, it is known as chauka. Suppose you get all 4 of them in this pattern, it is known as bara. The player who takes all the 4 pawns to the innermost circle is the winner. In those days when TV was not there, neither the internet, most of our summer holidays, especially afternoons when it used to be too hot to play outdoor games like Kunte Bille or Lagori or other games or Goli, we used to play the Chauka Bara, the Huli Kurigata. Me, my cousins, my grandmother, my friends, all of us used to play this so often. When we had nothing else to do, I used to just call my Pati. Pati, va Pati, Chauka Bara, let's play Chauka Bara. Va Pati, Chauka Bara adla, va Pati. Oh, I can still hear my grandmother's voice in my ears. Beautiful memories. Now let's come to the game of chess. The history of chess can be traced back nearly 1500 years ago to when it was known as Chaduranga, which translates to 4 divisions of the military. There are many benefits to playing chess for both adults and kids alike. The majority of these benefits deal with developing and improving cognitive brain functions because it needs a lot of brain work. The benefits also include problem solving, creative thinking, strategic planning, which is most important to win this game, pattern recognition because there are 2 different patterns here, and memorization skills. You need to plan ahead, and you need to memorize and you also need to predict what the opponent is going to do. It also helps to potentially raise IQ levels, and also, of course, it develops sportsmanship. Of course, it is so much fun to play. And let's come to our own Vishwanathan Anand, who became famous, world famous with the game of chess. It is a game which can be played indoor very simply. Hours together can be spent playing the game of chess. That's the beauty of chess. Now we come to what is known as Kannu Kattu Atta. Kannu is eyes. So here one of the players is blindfolded, and then the rest of the players spin him around, and he has to go and catch the rest of the players. Just for fun, some of us used to, in our childhood days, we used to play this a lot. Just for the fun of it, we used to go and touch him from behind to confuse him in which direction we are. It's one of my personal favorites. As a child, I used to play so much of this Kannu Katta Aata. And when you're playing this game, you fall down, you don't know where you're heading, so you fall down. You get bruises and cuts on your legs, your feet, your arms. I used to go back home with bruises and mud all over, and my brother and mother used to be so irritated. I used to get a scolding. But that is to not stop us from continuing to play this game. It's so much fun. Now we come to the game of carom. The carom game requires very less investment, and all we need is the board, a carom man and the queen, 19 pieces in all, and most importantly the striker. The objective of the participants is to score more points than the opponent by acquiring more number on the board. Benefits of carom include quick thinking, analytical thinking, better focus, it sharpens the mind, and also you get to predict what the opponent is going to do, etc. Don't miss the small chair that we have made and the miniature board. All these boards are just about palm size, very small board. And don't miss the detailing that we have done. The striker, the queen. The board itself is palm sized and the pawns are very, very small. Don't miss the detailing. The Pagade or Pachisi or Dayakattam, as known as Tamil Nadu, is a very old popular Indian game. It can be traced back to the 14th century to the time of the Mahabharata, where it was played between the Kauravas and Pandavas. It requires 16 pawns of 4 colors and the dice. The dice determines the movement of the pawns. Home or gar is the center of the board, and the player who reaches the center of the board first wins. How can we even forget how this game of Pachisi or Pagade went on to lead to the Mahabharata war itself? And can any of us forget the strategic planning of Shakuni in the Mahabharata? Tic-tac-toe is a game between 2 players. One is the X and the other is the O. The one who makes 3 of their marks in a horizontal, vertical or diagonal is the winner. Typically X starts first. Strategy and sharpness of the mind is most important here. So now we come to the end of the nostalgic memory miniatures. So all of you are looking at these miniatures and wondering how to draw these grids, how to play the game, etc. We have an answer to that too in our display. Mainly, sometimes what happens, the grandmothers or the grandparents are in India and the grandchildren are overseas. So some of these games like Chauka Bara, Hulikuri Aata or Pagade, how do you source these and how do you play these? So let's go to that part of in our display where we have an answer as to where these games are available. Now let's look at the part about where these games are available and how to source them. You can order them from www.kavade.org. So that is where the games are available. So let's look at one game at a time. Now we come to the first game known as Hulikuri Aata. I have already explained it in detail. So what you need to notice here is see how wonderful the pawns are. Look at the sheep and look at the tiger. Oh, such beautiful pawns, aren't they? The tiger's coming to attack us. Okay, so that's one beautiful set. Here is another beautiful brass set, 4 tigers and the sheep. Here is another embroidered one of the same Adupuliyattam. Here different names and the same game. This is the cow and leopard game. Here these are the scrolls which are available, and behind at the back of the scroll, front is the grid and the back you have the rules of the game and how to play it, etc. These scrolls are very travel friendly and can be carried anywhere. So now we come to the game of Chowka-Bara. I have already explained it in detail. This is a beautiful rosewood set, and here we have cowrie shells and marbles which can be used. And these are 2 scrolls which are available at Cowday. Like I said, for the other games, these scrolls have the rules at the back. So in the front you have the grid and the back you have the rules of the game and how to play. So it's very self-explanatory. So this is another scroll too. So these are travel friendly. The other 2 games like the Adupuliyattam and the Chowka-Bara we had already seen, so I didn't go into too much of detail. Now we come to a different game which is not covered in our miniatures. It is called as Navakankari. Nava is 9, so you have 9 pawns each. So this is known as Navakankari. Navakankari, like all ancient games from across the world, is influenced by the dynamics of the local ecosystem. The game tests skills of the mind such as concentration, patience and proficiency, also strategy and logic. Navakankari shares commonalities with tic-tac-toe, which we saw just a while ago, but it is more dynamic and engaging. It is commonly known as in Europe as the Morris game and in Africa as the Morabara. Each player aims to form a mill or a salu or a line. Salu in Kannada is line. So you aim to form a line just like tic-tac-toe. So this is the game of Navakankari or Marabara as known as in Africa. The Ganjifa cards are circular playing cards, hand painted. They are so beautiful, just look at them, hand painted cards. There are 12 cards, each 4 sets of the cards. Like you can see there are 4 sets. There are variations based on the theme of the cards and the place where they are made. Some known variations are Navagunjar Ganjifa from Orissa, Ganjifa cards from Mysore and Dashavatara Ganjifa from MP. So that is about the Ganjifa cards. Now we come to the Knight's Tour. It's a variant of the chess game. It is what is known as the Knight's Tour Navagraha. Mummadi Krishnaraja Wadayar of our own Mysore state, the erstwhile royal family, he was the Maharaja of Mysore, is credited with development of unique board game variants. The Knight's Tour puzzle being the most acclaimed, which brings together Maharaja's love for mathematical puzzles and his knowledge in spiritual symbolism. The Knight's Tour is a complicated significant sequence of moves in which the knight lands on every square of the chessboard only once, and the unique variants devised by Mummadi form an auspicious pattern. That is why it is known as the Knight's Tour or Navagraha. We have already seen the miniature of the Lagori. There we had placed small stones, but if you want to purchase and play Lagori, this is a wooden set of 7 wooden blocks stacked one upon the other. So this can be purchased and you can play Lagori. Now we come to one of the very special items in my display, which is the Alguli Mane or the Palangui as called in Tamil. This particular set is what I played with my grandmother all my summer holidays. So this is again played with cowrie shells, and you just put them like this and go all around playing, and then you empty this and tap that counter. So like I said, then it itself, there are 2 players who play this game, and there are 2 rows and 14 counters. This is actually the Palanguri which I played with my grandmother. So I can still visualize her sitting here with me playing this game. It's making me very emotional. This is a Palanguri or a Nalguli Mane which is available at Kavade. It's a beautiful rosewood Algoli Mane available at Kavade. You can purchase this. It's very, very beautiful. This is a beautiful embroidered Pagade set. Like I've already explained Pagade, I don't think it needs more explanation. These are the pawns and these are the dice. What is very special about this is it's very colorful and embroidered, and it's also travel friendly. So you can purchase this from Kavade. There are various variants available of the Pagade, Chauka Bara and other games, which depending on your interests, you can buy any of them. So this is an ancient variant of the chess game. It has beautiful pawns. The pawns itself are so beautiful. So all these are available at Kavade. Do check them out at www.kavade.org, and all these you can purchase and enjoy. So these are all the games which are readily available at Kavade. Please do check them out at www.kavade.org. Beautiful sets, aren't they? So thank you for patiently watching the video. Please do contact Kavade at www.kavade.org for all these games, for all these interesting games. A very special thanks to my friends of Kavade for giving these games to be displayed in my collection. Please do watch the video completely to see how we have set up the display of the miniatures, etc. Thanks once again for joining me in this video of a virtual tour of my this year's theme. Wishing everyone a very happy Dasara once again. Ellarigu namaskara. Vanakkam.